Good evening. I am Stephen Macedas, and I am the program manager of the biomedical science undergraduate major in the College of Medicine. And I've been at Ohio State 18 years and was involved with this program in our travels from July 2022.
So this program will be based in Anchorage. So last year the program ran in July, but this year it has been moved to May. So there will be the program will be bookended by synchronous and asynchronous distance learning. So you'll have some work prior to and post trip learning, and then the travel to Anchorage, you'll be based in Anchorage from May 16th to 24th. So the idea is to kind of do most of sort of your book learning and whatnot during the distance learning portion, and then to have the travel portion of the program to be very hands-on, experiential in nature, so that you are getting the most out of your time in Anchorage. So this program will look at the role of culture, education, economy, and environment on healthcare related issues throughout the greater Anchorage area, and what about those things makes healthcare unique to Alaska and to Anchorage, and in general to the circumpolar communities, which you can see on the map kind of are at the upper portion of the globe. So some of the things that make healthcare a little bit different than what you would find here in the lower 48. So Lorraine, maybe you can just speak to the academic sites a little bit.
Sure. So Jenny did a nice introduction. So the great majority of your book learning will be done prior to your arrival in Anchorage. So over approximately the 10 days that we're in Anchorage, we'll be visiting various academic sites and then also some cultural sites as well. So the majority of the academic sites have a health medical related theme. So we'll be visiting at the University of Alaska Anchorage, which UAA is the largest enrollment university in the state of Alaska. Their beautiful campus is one of the shots here is at the bottom right hand of your screen. So we'll be visiting at the University of Alaska Anchorage, their Alaska Native Studies program, which was one of the key highlights of the program that ran last year. Also be downtown looking through the United States Forest Service, the Public Lands Information Center, learning about kind of the landscape of Alaska related to population, etc. Also visiting the Alaska Native Tribal Health Consortium, where we'll learn more about healthcare delivery throughout Alaska for Alaska Native populations. Also visiting just outside of downtown, which is the Alaska Neighborhood Health Center, which is a federally qualified health center, one of the only federally qualified health centers in the state of Alaska. We'll be learning about much of healthcare delivery for much of the underserved population in Anchorage. Also visiting the National Institute for Occupational Health and Safety, which is a branch of the Centers for Disease Control, learning about many of the unique kind of occupational safety hazards that are very unique to Alaska, such as commercial fishing injuries, other things such as commercial small plane injuries as well. Visiting the Providence Alaska Medical Center, which is really located at the center of the University of Alaska Anchorage. This is the largest medical facility in the state of Alaska. Last year, we students had the great privilege of learning about healthcare delivery from a panel of allied health professionals, one in particular, a genetic counselor, which she's one of less than 5 genetic counselors in the state of Alaska. And then also another major highlight, we visited the Refugee Assistance and Immigration Services. Many of you probably don't know that Alaska, in particular, Anchorage is one of the most diverse cities in the United States, home to large immigrant populations, and we learn about the great services that are available through the Refugee Assistance and Immigration Services.
Thanks, Lorraine. So in addition to the academic portion of the program, there are several planned cultural activities that are included with the program. So the way that the program was last year, the front portion of the trip was heavily weighted with the academic visits, and then the second half was more heavily weighted with the cultural activities. So you'll visit two of Anchorage's great museums. So the Alaska Native Heritage Center, where you'll get to learn about the many native populations that inhabit Alaska. And then you'll also visit the Anchorage Museum, which is filled with art from local and not local artists. There's also some opportunity for some cultural immersion. So you'll visit the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center, where you'll get to see lots of the native animals that are only found in that portion of the world. There's a visit to, I think we've decided Talkeetna. So you'll go to a small town just outside of Alaska, where you'll get to experience some of the local sites there. And then you'll take a day trip to Whittier. So you'll take the train to Whittier, where you'll have a glacier cruise. Last year, this was one of the highlights. I think the group got to see the glaciers, and there were also some otters that came by to join us. So Stephen, did you want to comment on some of the cultural activities?
Sure. So, I mean, Dr. Wallace gave a nice summation of the academic sites, but we also believe it's important for you to get a feel for the flavor of Anchorage in Alaska and the things that it has to offer. And so, like, one of the unique things about the Native Heritage Center is that it has a number of outbuildings at the back of the property that you can visit, which are models of the types of housing or meeting places that you would see out in the greater Alaska among the Native population. And so, you know, going to Alaska and seeing a glacier is a big deal, right? So this is something, there are lots of photo ops and something to tell your friends about. And in that picture, we were actually mining for gold, or we learned how to. Didn't work out well, did it, Jenny? But it's fun to see that. Yeah, and I will tell you, the theme of the trip was, oh, there, you've got yours. Yeah. Okay, good, yeah. The theme for that was wet feet. So if you do decide to go, make sure you have some good waterproof shoes.
So hopefully maybe the group this year will have a little bit better luck with the gold mining.
We'll see.
So the course is 3 credit hours, so it will be summer registration. So it will be MedCall 4790. So once you're admitted, you submit your application and you're admitted to the program. You'll be given instructions on how to register for this course. So it will be 3 credit hours at the end of the summer term. Once you've completed all of your academic requirements, there will be graded a letter grade, just as though you did this course on campus. It is a summer 2023 registration, so there will be a 3-hour tuition charge on your summer 2023 statement of fees and accounts. As far as accommodations and meals, the students you'll be staying in shared rooms in a hotel located in downtown Anchorage. So there are lots of places to eat, local establishments, shopping. There will be all meals will be included in your program fee, so you will receive a stipend for your meals while you're there. So you'll have some flexibility to eat where you like. There will also be 3 group meals, so you will be eating together with the rest of the group and usually a few guests. And then breakfast every day will be at your hotel. And there's another picture of last year's group too. So we have not yet landed on the program fee yet. I think last year it was around the $4,300 mark, and that included your accommodation, all your meals, and then your program related field trips and in-state tuition transportation. So once you got into Anchorage, if you didn't do any additional personal travel, all of your most of your expenses were covered. So with the expenses that are not covered, the out-of-pocket expenses, your domestic airfare. So this program is independent travel. So you'll be traveling to and from Anchorage on your own. This will give you the flexibility to arrive a little bit earlier, stay a little bit later. I know we had a few students that did a little extra travel on either side. It also gives you the flexibility to go home, do your asynchronous learning from wherever you call home, and then travel to and from Anchorage from your home base. Tuition, there will be an additional tuition charge on top of that program fee. Travel related expenses, so if you need luggage or a raincoat, those types of things. There is also a free day when you're there, so whatever you decide to do on that day will be at your own expense. I know that many of the students last year did things like dog sledding, and they went on a rafting trip, so there's lots of opportunities there. Your personal expenses, so clothing, souvenirs, and then your $150 application fee. If you are not admitted or if the program is canceled, that will be refunded, and then there will be a $50 administrative fee. So those are the kind of the additional out-of-pocket expenses to begin your planning. There are some scholarships available. So our website has a list of the scholarships that are offered by our office as well as by other colleges and departments around campus. So I encourage you all to begin looking there now. The deadlines don't necessarily match up with the program deadline, which I'll talk about in a minute. So you want to make sure that you're not missing out on any of those scholarships. Now, what colleges did you guys say you were out of? So,
Jenny, their arts and sciences and their health and rehabilitation sciences.
Okay, so I know definitely arts and sciences has a common scholarship application. And I don't think that the HRS is out of the College of Medicine, right? Yeah, I don't think they have any scholarships directly for their students, but you can certainly apply to the scholarships that are through our website or through our office. You can also use your financial aid to support this experience. So you can petition to have financial aid look at the increased cost of attendance and see if it will change your financial aid package. It is also STEP eligible. So if any students are planning to use their STEP funding for study abroad for global education, you can use it for this program. I should also say that many of the scholarships may be dependent on it being an international program. So that might be one of the hang-ups, but certainly your STEP funding is not dependent on it being an international experience. Program eligibility. So in order to apply for this program, we ask that you have at least a 2.5 GPA and you have completed at least 2 semesters of undergraduate education. So you can go after your freshman year. And certainly last year we had students of all academic levels that traveled on the program. So all majors, it was interdisciplinary, and then, students from first years up until, graduating seniors.
So I think, just like me make a quick comment about the GPA, that again, we can, be flexible. We know the last year has been very, very difficult. So just reach out to either Stephen, Jenny, or myself about that if you have questions.
Yeah, we'd be happy to, look at any extenuating circumstances that might not land you exactly where you need to be. So yeah, that picture in the bottom right-hand corner is the train that you'll take out to Whittier. The online application deadline is January 4th, 2023. So there is, as long as you have your application submitted by that day, you will be considered for the program. I typically advise that students don't leave this until the very last minute because of the way our deadline lands and then the holidays preceding. Sometimes it can be hard to get somebody in the office to help with any technical difficulties or any program related questions. When you submit your application, There will be a $150 application fee that you'll pay. The application consists of, some personal information like your email address and your date of birth and your name. And then there are a few personal questions to kind of assess your interest in the program and interest in the travel. So I always encourage students to, invest a bit of time in answering these questions. So we do ask for at least 200 words, or to land right around 200 words. Anything lower than that, we kind of feel doesn't really give you enough time to articulate your answers to these questions. Once the deadline passes, we will evaluate applications, and you can expect an admission decision in mid to late January. And then at that point, we'll give you further instructions on, what needs to happen with course registration and any further meetings that we'll have with the group. Okay, and that's the end. So you can feel free to type any questions in the chat, or you can unmute and ask them. If you have any questions about the program, about the academic side or the cultural events, or any logistics, we'd be happy to answer them. So I was fortunate enough to go on the program last year, and it was a great experience. I think if we found that you don't necessarily need to go on an international on a plane to an international destination to have a cultural experience. So this was definitely provided a cultural experience. And yeah, I can email those slides. I think I can get your email addresses from the roster. I also recorded it, so I can send the recording as well.
So again, if you have any other questions about academics or the things that the course involves, I encourage you to reach out to us as well.
Yeah, thank you for coming. And we'll hang around. You can feel free to stay and ask questions, or this ends the formal part of the presentation. So we appreciate you guys spending time with us tonight.